Hey, it's Nate from Navigator Bookkeeping with our next video. In our new video series, we're doing another new video series here, so get excited. All right, so this new video series is going to be all on QuickBooks and bookkeeping. So we're getting back to the basics of what bookkeeping is and how we can give you hopefully as many tips and tricks as possible to make bookkeeping and QuickBooks easier for you. So today we're going to talk about what I call the 3 essentials. These are the 3 bookkeeping activities you need to do every month in order to stay on top of your bookkeeping. If you don't do these 3, you're not going to be able to see the full financial picture of your business, and there's a pretty decent chance you may fall behind in your bookkeeping and kind of end up with a mountain of bookkeeping, which is the most, largest fear of a lot of business owners, is to have tons of bookkeeping to do and to dig themselves out from. So I'm going to go into more detail with each of these 3 in future weeks, but today I'm just going to give you an overview of what these 3 are. So the first one is classifying your transactions. That means basically you're going to go into QuickBooks or whatever accounting software you're using. I prefer QuickBooks Online, but there's lots of good choices out there. And you're basically going to put into buckets what all of your expenses and revenue are. So if I see a transaction from Google for G Suite, I know that's office supplies. If I see a transaction from Facebook ads, I know that's advertising. If I know that I bought my employees lunch from Portillo's, that's a Chicago restaurant if you don't know, it's delicious. But anyways, if I bought my employees lunch from there, it's going to be meals and entertainment. And basically I'm putting all my expenses in those big buckets so that later on when I look at them on a financial report, I know what everything is. Same thing with your revenue. You're going to be able to classify that as specifically or as generally as you want. I like it to be pretty specific. So I like to know that my consulting work is here and my cleanup work is here, my monthly work is here, and I can see how all those numbers are changing. You can make it just in one big general sales account, or you can be specific for each different service or product that you sell. So that's classifying. Do that weekly. For most small businesses, weekly should be fine. If you have a large volume of transactions, if you're really doing a lot as a business, you could do that twice a week, but it's probably not going to be needed much more than that unless you're really pulling in some serious volume, pulling in a lot of expenses or revenue. So that's the first step. Second step is reconciling. Now, this is a step that not everyone does because it doesn't always seem necessary if you're not used to bookkeeping. But basically what reconciling is doing is it's checking the bank statement compared to QuickBooks, your accounting software, and it's making sure they are the same. Basically, this is a great check, number 1, for accuracy, but number 2, for fraud. When you're reconciling, you're going to be able to see all of your transactions, and you're going to make sure that they all should be there. If there's something that pops up that you're not used to, say there's a transfer out for $5,000 that you haven't seen before, oh, what is that? Right away, it sets off a little alert in your head. Now, fraud is not super common, but it does happen, especially in small businesses. That's one great way to check for that. Also, besides fraud, if we're getting a little less intense, it's just pretty common that mistakes happen. So maybe a transfer happened accidentally, or maybe you double paid for something. You can find all those things when you're reconciling, but the biggest thing it's going to show is accuracy. It's going to show if you accidentally entered 2 checks, if you accidentally didn't enter a deposit that you thought you did, or you entered the wrong amount on the deposit. All that's going to happen on the reconciling. This is going to happen at the end of each month. So usually, let's say it's December 1st, it's going to be a good time to reconcile it for November. You're always doing it for the previous month. So that's monthly. Classifying's weekly, reconciling's monthly. Third step is prepare and analyze your financial statements. Now, this is something that very few business owners do because it seems boring and financial statements seem super complicated, which they can be if you don't know what they're showing. Basically, what I want you to do is at the end of every month, after you've reconciled and check everything for accuracy, go into your accounting software and I want you to pull 3 reports: income statement, statement of cash flows, and balance sheet. If you pull those 3, you're going to get a full financial picture of your business. If you pull only 1 or 2 of those, you might see part of it, but there's things that can be hidden that you're not going to notice. So if you look at all those 3, they're going to be interconnected. They're going to show everything that happened in your business for the last month. Once you've pulled those out, take a look at them. We're going to dive into those more intensely so you can kind of understand what's going on with those. But look at them and then compare them from month to month, year to year, and see if you can spot any trends. Are my sales increasing? Are they decreasing? Same thing with expenses. Are expenses rising? Are they dropping? What's causing all that? You're going to be able to find all those pieces. If you're looking at month to month, you're going to be able to see, why did my expense in office supplies go up by $2,000 this month and from what it usually is? Oh, it's because I bought that new computer. It's going to show all those pieces and whether those should be there or shouldn't be there, whether you need to cut off spending in certain areas. So look really closely at those statements. You don't need to spend 5 hours, but maybe spend half hour to an hour looking over those, taking some notes, and comparing different time periods. If you do those 3 things, those 3 essentials, you're going to have a really good picture of what's happening in your business. There's a lot more that goes into bookkeeping than that you can add on. But if you're doing those 3 essentials, those are going to be the bedrock to build everything else off of, and it's going to give you a really good picture of your business. In the future weeks, we're going to dive into those a little bit more specifically about how to do those, and we can learn from those. So we'll see you in those next videos.